This model absolutely rocks. But instead of giving it the regular wings that it has, these insect wings, I want to give it like these vampiric wings that really remind me of like a Final Fantasy creature. I want to make this head totally interchangeable. And I want to make this saddle completely accessible so I can put whatever model I want on top of it. This model could be absolutely incredible for being one of those models that I can use in lots of different games to act as lots of different monsters and creatures and characters and narratives.
So why am I doing this? Well, I think this could solve quite a few problems for me. First of all, I love making big monsters. Big monsters are like my favorite part of every single army, and only ever, usually, you get to field like one. And that's always a bummer, because I put so much love into lots and lots and lots of big models, and I don't get to play as often as I get to make stuff. So making things I'm never going to field kind of sucks. So this way, I can do add-ons to existing models. I can keep experimenting, keep developing, keep kit-bashing models that are finished, and non-destructively. I can go back to how it used to be. Secondly, this also might save some cash, save some investment in the games that are always changing around me. What my club is interested in now might not be what it is in a year.
Okay, so I've spent a little bit of time kit bashing this and turning it into something that looks like it could have lots of different kinds of mounts. Not just Nurgle mounts, but all sorts of different chaos. That's why I've done like furry bits. That's why I've got the bat wings. That's why I've kept insect parts. But this head, there's so much we can do with it. And the secret to interchangeable stuff, at least what works for me, is pegs. A positive and a negative space that they can plug into each other so you can interchange bits like I've done with this head on this Demon Prince. I think the best way of doing this is with square tube, like using 3/16 and 1/4" tube. Anyway, they're designed to go into each other as a nice snug fit. Now, if it's going to support a big heavy metal model, I would recommend using brass instead of styrene, but brass is harder to work with. Now, this model has a convenient hollow inside, otherwise you have to drill this out, which is what I've done in the past. And we're going to get our tube and just shove it in. This tube is the bigger of the two. This is the outside tube. Maybe like there is a good spot. And just tack this in with a little bit of glue. And then we're going to fill in all the gaps with a bit of Milliput. That looks pretty clean. I tried to make it look organic and natural, like it was a neck from any creature. But also, we can cover this up at any point too, with different shapes and different textures depending on what the head is. So, we get our smaller tube now, and we bung it in the hole, like that. So bloody elegant. Friction fit, what more could you ask for? I think I'd like to use the original head as an option, and give it a little peg. You want to add a little bit of moisture to each part and then stick them together just gently and then pull them apart. And then you get a nice positive and negative seam. Then we can do some basic sculpting just to tidy it up. Okay, so we have our base conversion now, and look how dramatically we can transform this into something else. So we remove the head, and I've got this head. I'm not actually sure what this is from. I think maybe one of the new like orc things from Age of Sigmar or whatever, or maybe it's a Skaven monster. I don't know, but it looks rad. Totally a different vibe. Then, I kit-bashed this on a little bit, a crazy dragon head, and then we can run this as like a little chaos dragon. And then, say we wanted something more 40k inspired, and now I don't have to paint a billion of these bodies. I can just paint different heads and keep kit-bashing different heads. Ah, but wait, we've also got a rider, and he sits perfectly on his saddle. I think he honestly would look cool with the dragon one. I also converted this one. I have an old board game model. I think this is Hero Quest. Yeah, I think. And then also High Elf legs that I just like split apart a little bit extra. And I sculpted like a little saddle that can go on the big saddle. So it looks like one homogeneous piece. But I just found this orc. And I think honestly the legs are far enough apart that this could just pretty easily ride on this.
And there you have it. One model, heaps of options. We can kit bash it forever, and done in an afternoon. Bloody nice.